All right, I think we are going live. Let's give us a minute here. If you are watching and we are live, thanks so much for being here. We're going to get started in just a moment. Let's see here. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So hi, my name is Stacy with Wholesale Warranties, and I am so happy to be sitting down with Tom and Kate of Mortons on the Move today. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you so much for hosting this. We're excited to chat with you.
So Tom and Kate are just RV geniuses, and everybody watching is going to learn a lot today. Can you tell us a little bit about Mortons on the Move and how you guys got started RVing?
Sure. We actually hit the road full time back in 2015. And so that makes us, we're going on 9 years. This will be our
Congrats.
9th year in the Army. Thank you very much. And we hit the road basically because we were
looking for a change.
Yeah.
We were just looking for a change. We wanted to do something different. We actually wanted to move somewhere different, take different jobs, but we just didn't know where that was or what that would be. And we just kind of stumbled across the RV lifestyle. Actually, we didn't even really know it was an RV lifestyle.
Yeah, we were actually down in Florida. We're in Florida right now, but we were down in Florida. We originally were from Michigan, and we flew down to Florida in the wintertime. Loved it down here. It was so warm and nice. Then we flew back to Michigan, and it was a blizzard. And we were like, why did we come home? There's got to be a way.
We were wanting to make a change.
Yeah.
That's when we drove by an RV dealership, and it was just like, it was kind of a light bulb thing. Like, aren't those things like houses on wheels? And by the time we got home, we decided we were going to move into one of those things. This was even before there were a lot of like influencers, if you will, online. So there was so little information about a full-time RV lifestyle. But we decided we were going to do it.
Yeah, there were like the few big names from the beginning, like, the RV Geeks, Gone with the Winds, Technomadia, Wheelin' It, the OGs of the full-time RV life.
We talked with a few of them and said, yeah, we could do this. So,
so it took us a year and a half, but we hit the road and
fell in love with it.
We've fallen in love with it. We've definitely had to make some adjustments. This is not the RV that we started in, for instance. We've made a couple of different changes, but it's been awesome. We love this lifestyle. We've like maybe talked about moving back into a house a couple of times, but like all of the reasons why we chose this lifestyle just keep tipping the decision back to let's just stay on the road. We love it too much and don't want to give up this kind of freedom.
Amazing. I love that you just drove by a dealership and that was it. That 9 years later, and look at where you are. Did you grow up camping? Had you guys been in an RV before?
Yeah, but like not in like an obsessive way, we were like, from a young age, like I'm going to travel the world in an RV.
Yeah, both our families had RVs, but never really thought anything of them necessarily.
Yeah, like camping is fun. We like camping, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We're going to do this. We didn't have an RV of our own until we decided we were going to live in one full time. We were tent camping and car camping, but we didn't have an RV, and our friends had an RV, and when we told them our idea to go full time, they were like, you don't even have an RV. Why are you doing this? Like, you know nothing about RV, as adults. So
for me, there was a bit of an allure to it as well, because I do really like vehicles as a whole. I'm an electrical engineer by trade, if you will, but and that engineering side of me, like all the systems in an RV, while they can be enormously challenging. For me, it's a challenge I almost was excited to take on. Is like, we got an entire house and an entire vehicle, and we got to make this thing work. And that to me was sort of a fun thing. And the lifestyle is just so. It definitely has a lot of challenges, but those challenges were things that I guess helped fulfill us at the time, and we just kind of fell in love with it, I guess.
Amazing. And now you have not one but 3 RVs, I hear.
Yes, we have an RV problem. Our friends have threatened interventions, and we always joke about expanding the fleet of like, we don't have we don't have a travel trailer yet. Let's get one. But yeah, we have 3 RVs. We have the RV that we are in now. This is our 45-foot diesel pusher, Class A Monaco Dynasty. We've had this for about 2 years now.
Probably consider this our primary home.
This is our primary home. And this we got to replace the original RV that we hit the road in.
Not the original, the second RV.
Okay.
Yeah. We're on our 4th RV.
It's fair. Okay.
Yeah. So we replaced a 5th wheel. We were in a DRV Mobile Suites. And we were going to sell that when we moved into this, but we decided to keep it because it was full of lithium batteries and had about 3,000 watts of solar on it. It's basically like a moving solar generator. And we have a piece of property up in Michigan that we basically just went and parked it on. So when we're up there, it's an additional.
We plug into it. We plug this into that.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that.
And it's an additional space for us to use for kind of like a workshop if needed. People can come and stay in it. It's just additional. I think of it as like an additional room in a house.
Yeah, like a guest room.
It's a very nice guest room. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the 3rd RV that we have is a overland truck camper. That's kind of more of our adventure vehicle now, because when we had the 5th wheel, we definitely felt limited in where we could go. And we went on a big trip up to Alaska in a truck camper, and that really got us addicted to that. But we could not live in a truck camper full time. That we have 2 dogs. We just have we know what we need to keep comfortable. So we knew that wasn't an option for full time. So then we went in the other direction to get this big motorhome that was kind of the primary, and then we think of the truck camper as our adventure cabin for the weekends and other dedicated trips. So that's our fleet.
I love it. You have just like the perfect little home away from home that is your home for every type of adventure.
Exactly.
It's probably like asking about a favorite child, but is there a favorite RV? Is there one that really gets you?
It just depends on what we want to do with it.
I think probably as with children, that changes over time. I was really angry at the truck camper for a while because the truck broke and we couldn't use it, and it was in the shop, so it was like so frustrating. But now it's fixed mostly, and we're planning a trip this summer with it, so we're really excited to ditch this motorhome and get back into the truck camper and do some more adventuring.
That's awesome. This is skipping ahead, but where are you going this summer? What are the big plans for the truck camper?
Well, we are going to northeastern Canada, to the Maritimes, and driving the Labrador Highway. We've been thinking of this trip. It's going to be about 10,000 miles. But we've been thinking of this trip ever since we did our trip to Alaska with our Go North expedition, because everybody that we met on the Dempster Highway up to the Arctic Ocean asked us, well, have you done the Labrador Highway? Because it's even more remote.
Got it.
So this has been on our bucket list for a long time, and we're finally doing it this year. So we're very excited.
Hoping to put the RV on the ferries, go out to Nova Scotia and the Canadian islands on the eastern seaboard. We're really excited about it, and we don't exactly know what we're getting into, which is kind of our favorite way to travel, to be honest.
Sure.
So
one of the things I'm really interested to do is we're going to drive all the way up to the Hudson Bay, which looks really, really remote, and it's mostly remote villages and a lot of dams, because Canada has a lot of hydropower up there. So there's all of these service roads out to these dams, and it just looks like you could just drive and explore up there for weeks if you wanted to. So that's going to be really cool.
There's something about just kind of truly getting away, disconnecting, not having cell service. It's so hard to do that these days. And to be honest, even with Starlink internet, we won't even be disconnected anymore. But there's still something about just being able to get so far out there that, the world just feels more disconnected. And it's kind of a reboot and a refresh. But we are planning to film the trip and bring our viewers along on the journey this summer as well. So we are excited to share it.
Yeah,
that's
kind
really
of taken
exciting.
Yeah, we took a little bit of a hiatus from doing a lot of travel vlogging to focus on our website, but we're kind of swinging back the other way now and really wanting to do more travel and more sharing of those adventures through video again. So we're really excited to produce that series.
I'll plug one other thing real quick. One thing I'm actually editing, literally behind this screen here. I'm working on editing a series where we traveled to New Zealand. Actually, we went to New Zealand right at the start of COVID, actually, and the trip was amazing, but it ended with us almost trapped in New Zealand during COVID, and it wasn't like. Yeah, exactly. And that was part of the reason we didn't produce the series and content, because we just didn't feel like another COVID story was needed, if you will.
Right.
But we had some amazing adventures there, and we're actually producing that to finally share as well. So we have lots of RV travel stories to hopefully share on our site here soon.
Well, and going back through the footage, it is like that's really an exciting part. And we have so many people come up to us about the Go North series that we did to Alaska and how it inspired them. And like that is one of the most rewarding things about being a content creator in the RV space is when you have somebody come up to you and be like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to go to Alaska, but I was nervous, but you guys inspired me, and so I did it, and it was amazing. And like that is what we live for. So we're really excited getting back to that. So yeah, Maritimes for the summer.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think we get to work with so many RVers, and we get to watch from, our office in San Diego, all of these amazing adventures. Like it truly is so fun for us to go on those trips with you. And I've been inspired. There's so many places within the US that I would never have known existed or were like as beautiful and as adventurous as they are if I hadn't seen all of these amazing videos and all of these trips that our RVers do. So we get inspired here, and you guys have so many people that are watching you like, oh, I've always wanted to go to Alaska, or Maritime, somewhere super remote, but like, wow, that's a big undertaking. But seeing somebody do it, like actually firsthand, like it's possible. You can do it. It's so incredible. It really makes it seem like realistic. So I'm excited to see that. I love that feeling, like you said, nowhere is like, or very few places are truly out of cell service anymore. But it's sort of like the difference between hiking when you can still see power lines and hiking when it's like that truly like silent, quiet, you're in the middle of nowhere, don't get lost because you won't find your way back. There's something really special about that. So I'm excited to see that.
That's something kind of about the RV lifestyle as a whole that, again, the technical perspective and just something that it enables is that you can go to these really remote places or go boondocking, disconnect, if you will, and still bring all the comforts of home. It's like using technology to our advantage to allow us to go to these places, experience these things without being super uncomfortable, if you will.
Right.
And I think that there is like a little bit of hardship is part of what makes an adventure. And there's always going to be that, but the technology of the RV to enable even this big off-road camper we have, it's still it's got a dry bath and a shower, and we're still very comfortable in it, even going to these amazing places. And that's something that we personally just really like about what RVs can enable. They can enable comfort in the in-between, if you will. Yeah,
best of both worlds for sure. Amazing. So I'll take a break here just to say, if you are watching with us, thank you so much for being here. If you have questions, we'll answer them live. So go ahead and pop them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer those. And you teased it a little bit, so I'm going to jump ahead again. But Go North. Tell me about Go North. Tell me about this big feature, all of the amazing adventures in Alaska.
Go North was to date, the biggest project that we ever did. We somehow talked Lance Manufacturing, the truck camper and travel trailer manufacturer in California, to lend us a truck camper to take all the way to the Arctic Ocean.
Basically one of their marketing vehicles, like one of the vehicles they bring to like an RV show to like show off kind of a thing.
Yes. And and they were great sports about it, and kind of let us kind of figure it out. But we took a truck camper from Southern California all the way up to Alaska and all the way to Tuktoyaktuk, which is on the Arctic Ocean in Canada.
Amazing.
And
6 months.
6 months.
15,000 miles.
15,000 miles. And it was the most amazing adventure. And we filmed it. Tom and I filmed it. Tom edited the entire series. It's 20 episodes. And it was a huge hit, like more than I think we were ever expecting. We got so many views, so many people commenting, and it was just an incredible experience. And so that was back in 2019, and we're like still living that right now. But we recently, just this past December, well, I guess now I got to rewind a little bit. About a year ago, we had the team from Stable Camper. They make camper stabilizers for truck campers. They reached out to us because they were holding a truck camper rally out in Idaho this past summer, and they were like, hey, we have a crazy idea. What if you premiered Go North the movie at this rally? And we were like, that doesn't exist, you know? And they were like,
that sounds great, but
we were like, wait, this is 20 episodes, 7.5 hours of footage to distill down to an hour and a half. And at first we were like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. No way, I don't think so. And then we like mulled on it a little bit, and Tom goes, no, I think that would be actually a really cool thing. And so that's how the edit for the movie started to happen. And it's basically a giant highlight reel of our adventure. And we premiered it at the rally, the Northwest Truck Camper Rally in Idaho, in June of last year. And then we released it on our website on Vimeo for free, so anybody can watch it in December. So that was kind of our big project of, hey, here is Go North again, but in a distilled version, so you don't have to watch 7.5 hours. So
how hard was that editing process? Were there just pieces you were like, oh, I can't lose this, but it doesn't fit?
Yeah, editing in general is way more challenging than actually having the adventure a lot of times.
It takes a lot longer.
The Go North series particularly is edited really to a TV spec, to a TV standard. Really, it's formed in like a doc style.
We really wanted to put it on Amazon Prime, so the series is actually on Amazon Prime with the full closed captioning and all the credits and stuff like that, which was a huge undertaking in itself.
Yeah, we've worked on a handful of feature documentary films, and I really enjoy the full professional filming style, but it is an immense amount of work. And Go North fits that, and it actually is available on Amazon to purchase. It was on Amazon Prime for a while, but for some reason they pulled it. But it's It is challenging for sure to edit to that standard. So we kind of do a little bit of both, like sort of a more vlog style, simple content kind of stuff. But then we also sometimes will produce a full documentary standard type piece of content. And we've actually been fortunate to work for TV as well, even in the RV space. We worked for 5 seasons on a show called The RVers, which aired on the Discovery Channel and PBS and a number of different television platforms.
Yes. But I think to your question of like editing that content down to an hour and a half, that was hard because it was really hard to cut out chunks of that trip, because so much happened and there were so many highlights. Because no matter what you do in Alaska, it's big and incredible. So it was hard to choose some things over others, but overall I think it captured the overall spirit. And I hope you guys check it out. Hope you guys like it.
Yeah, it can give you kind of an idea of the adventures that can be had in Alaska, even if it can't show everything.
Yes. Right. So 15,000 miles. What were your peaks and valleys, favorite places you went, and then lessons that you learned on a trip that big?
I mean, we could probably use the entire rest of the time to talk about that. But I would say probably some highlights from the audience perspective was it was kind of like a valley, but also like in hindsight a peak. We ran into some trouble with porcupines on this really remote road. And we were like falling asleep at night, and all of a sudden we hear this like, and we're like, what is that? And it ended up being not one, but two porcupines had climbed up and were sitting on the axles of the truck, chewing on wires, and we were like hundreds of miles away from anyone else.
One of the most remote places we had been on the trip, and we had these porcupines just destroying the wiring in our truck.
Wow. When you started to say it was like an animal encounter, I'm thinking like Alaska, grizzly bear, like but it's the porcupines.
Yeah,
it was porcupines were the worst. And we've since learned that animals crawling up and chewing on wiring can be a very big problem for a lot of these remote things. Those actually, they were so bad we had to physically move the truck in the middle of the night. We had to just get up and leave and then repair the wiring because they had damaged.
Fortunately, I bring my electrical engineer with me everywhere.
Very, very convenient. Yeah.
But we did have a lot of other wildlife encounters. I mean, bears, moose, a lot of that
we went
in good ways. In good ways, though, just being able to get up close with the wildlife, and they're doing their thing. And most of the time, they don't care that you're there if you're not trying to mess with them.
Yeah. Right.
So the wildlife is it's just incredible what you get to see and experience. And
yeah, definitely the bears of Katmai. You know, if you're familiar with Fat Bear Week, it's those bears. We got to go up and close to them and watch them fish for salmon. It was incredible. Denali National Park is like my favorite national park now because like you were saying earlier with hiking and being so remote and not seeing power lines or even planes or anything, it just makes you feel so small and like the problems of your life and the world seem so small and insignificant when you're staring out over vast wilderness. It's an incredible feeling.
Swimming in the Arctic Ocean.
That was pretty cool too.
Something not a lot of people can say that they've done. That's amazing.
Yeah, we were very fortunate that an all-season road had opened to this new town of Tuktoyaktuk on the Arctic Ocean, and we were some of the first RVers to get to drive it. So that was just kind of a neat experience in itself. Now, if you're willing to make the drive, anyone can drive up there now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. What are your recommendations for gear? So you guys went up there, you're doing this huge trip. What's something that you're like, I'm so glad that we packed this, or maybe on the opposite side, like we really didn't have to bring this with us 15,000 miles?
First thing that pops into my head is bug gear. We had this ex officio clothing. It was pants that were like infused with picaridin, and the jackets that were kind of mesh and infused with picaridin. And we honestly wore them every single day because
the mosquitoes can be
they could carry you away in some places. Sometimes like it wasn't that way all the time, but man, if you stepped out of the truck or the RV without it and they were there, oh man, you were running.
Yeah, I've heard that about Alaska. Like there's the peaks and valleys of being remote too is the bugs are out there, they're untouched, they're unbothered.
And they find you very quickly.
I think one thing that really sort of surprised us, we were prepared for it, but the inner sections of Alaska near like Fairbanks in the middle of summer actually can get really hot. We saw over 100 degrees in central Alaska, and we definitely weren't really expecting high heat. So that was something.
You think cold, you think Alaska and snow and
so pack a swimsuit. You might need it.
That is a good tip. That is not one I would have expected. Yeah.
The other thing that I would say is make sure that your RV or camper has great blackout shades because the midnight sun is real. And you are going to get so out of whack with your sleep schedule. We were like driving sometimes at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and we just got so out of sync with like the real clock. We were having dinner at like 10 or 11 at night because you don't get that visual cue, and you don't even realize that your body like works off of the light, and it never tells you, oh hey, it's time to eat dinner if the sun is never setting. So you end up sleeping at weird times. If you don't have those blackout shades, it can be a real struggle. So
yeah,
I think those are some good ones.
I think a lot of people also, when they think of a trip to Alaska, think that they really need a truck camper or an off-road capable vehicle or something. And that's definitely not true. You can do Alaska by RV with almost any RV, really any RV. Even this big motorhome we're in could definitely do a trip to Alaska. The roads can be challenging in certain places, but they're not undoable. It's just you gotta
paved
you can
the whole way.
Yeah.
You just have to watch out for the frost heaves, which I mean you could run into anywhere in the lower 48. Some potholes are worse than what you would see up in Alaska. They just have some of the like big heaves in the road that could throw you around if you weren't expecting it.
A smaller, more nimble rig is just going to enable all the things that it enables anywhere else. Just you can go more places. You can stay overnight in more places. You won't need campgrounds at all if you don't want them. There is so many opportunities to boondock or stay off grid on a trip to Alaska that if you're nimble and set up for that, you can do a whole summer off grid, which is just kind of fun and a neat way to travel as well.
Amazing. And how long was the journey start to finish?
Start to finish was 6 months. Pretty much on the nose. We would have liked to take our time more coming back south through British Columbia because BC is also amazing.
It's incredible.
The Yukon is amazing. And we just started getting chased by the cold weather and the snow. So it was,
had to get out.
We had to get out, but we definitely want to go back again one day. Probably do like the Maritime or what am I trying to say? The Alaska Maritime Highway.
Alaska Maritime Highway.
Marine
Highway.
That's the word.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on the Maritimes.
That's
the
Marine
Highway.
The head.
So,
awesome.
Because we didn't hit like Anchorage or any of the passage along the.
We hit Anchorage. We didn't hit like
Juneau.
Or a lot of the inside islands that are only accessible by the Marine Highway, which is
the ferries.
Putting your RV on a ferry, a boat, and traveling that highway.
Our friends Jason and Ray of Getaway Couple did that though, and they are actually right now releasing their Alaska series. So shameless
definitely
plug for
check
them.
that out. We're big fans of Getaway Couple too, so we'll absolutely take that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Go North Part 2 maybe is going to be those other islands, those places you missed.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Someday.
We're gonna definitely do the Maritimes first, but then maybe it'll be time to go back west and do another Northwest adventure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you talked about the RVers show as well. So tell us a little bit about the RVers. Can we still watch that? Is there somewhere we can catch those episodes?
Absolutely. So the RVers is on Discovery Channel and PBS, and there's 5 seasons, and they kind of sometimes run reruns, sometimes they run the new seasons. So you just kind of have to, we get asked a lot of like, where can I watch it? And especially with like PBS, like every PBS station across the country like does their own thing sort of. So you just have to check your PBS station to see when it's running. It usually, I feel like, runs on Saturdays, like in the morning. So if you look at your Saturday schedule, you might be able to find it there. It is also available online. It's on Apple TV.
That's right.
Okay.
And on Discovery, their new
Discovery
app.
Plus, something like that.
Their new app, you can kind
There's
of
somewhere to stream pretty much
watch
anything
on
these days.
demand for sure. It's on Google Play, so it's widely available. If you type it in, you'll find it. And we're doing that 5 years with our good friends and co-hosts, the RV Geeks, John and Peter.
That show does cover some things that we haven't showed on our channel just yet. It did cover a trip to New Zealand,
which we're editing right now.
Maybe, yes. A lot of that footage, I guess, an expanded version of what you could see on the RVer should be available on our channel in the next few months. I'm not going to put any timestamp on that yet. And then we've actually also traveled in Europe via RVs. Awesome. We've rented RVs in Europe and
in Baja.
And in Baja. Oh, yeah. That show.
Yeah, I mentioned we kind of took a break from filming on YouTube to focus on our website, but we were also focusing on filming for the RVers TV show. And so yeah, a couple of those adventures that we were on, they're documented over there.
Amazing. Where's your favorite international place to RV? Where's been the easiest, I guess?
We have Well, we haven't done the entire world yet. I guess that'd be the goal. But I'd say the easiest and the favorite right now would probably be New Zealand. It's so incredibly RV friendly.
Yeah, but you have to drive on the other side of the road.
Oh yeah, that makes it challenging.
And on the other side of the RV, which is kind of interesting. But they all speak English, and so
that makes it easier.
Any international RV trip, I suppose from the U.S., the easiest would be Canada by far. That's a good way to sort of dip your toes into like doing a border crossing and getting slight differences with like liters instead of gallons and kilometers instead of miles. That's a very
things written in French versus English,
right?
But still, everybody speaks English. Second to that,
I don't want to say everybody.
Probably Mexico. One step further, border crossing a little more challenging. Things are just a little bit harder, but it's still North America. And then from there, like stepping overseas to some of these different countries, then you really have to start getting used to bigger language barriers, bigger differences in the RVs and the systems. They're not exactly the same as what we have here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But all of those things, actually, those challenges are part of what make it so exciting and fun in a way. And the stories from that and what you get to experience is just incredible. Over international, it offers the same thing that it offers here: the flexibility to travel, kind of on a whim and explore the in between, and maybe see some of the non-tourist places that maybe an American tourist just absolutely wouldn't go. You go to this little town and you're one of very few Americans who've ever come through.
You just end up in places that you wouldn't have, like, okay, if I only have 2 weeks to be in France, I'm going to go to this little teeny tiny town in the Alps, right? Because you just don't think of it that way, because there's like, the payoff isn't guaranteed. But then if you just are driving through and you happen upon like this awesome castle and this cute little cafe and this awesome hike, and then you're just like, wow, I would have totally missed this.
Like, for example, we were driving through the Alps in France, I believe, and we came across this town that it was alpine town, alpine homes, beautiful French alpine village, but it had all these Mexican flags and Mexican stuff all over the place. And
they were having like a Mexican festival.
And it turns out that this town has this entire Mexican theme because a long time ago, a lot of the people from that town had moved to Mexico. We're sending money
work
back
and
there.
Sending money home.
And the culture came back. So we had Mexican themed food in France that was like a true, authentic, and it's the kind of community that is not on the map for outside tourists.
When you're like, I'm checking off the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, like all of the things in France, you miss out on those really unique opportunities.
We're walking down the street going, why does it look like Cinco de Mayo here?
Where are we?
Yes, exactly. So it's finding little things like that I think RVing internationally really allow you to do. And, I think there's also a bit of security and familiarity with it, because you're not like lugging around a suitcase and going into this hotel and that Airbnb and like constantly moving stuff. You have everything with you. So if you just need to stop, you just find a parking spot and you just stop and you've got everything with you. You don't think, oh, what do I need to bring with me for the day's adventure? You have everything with you.
But then there's the challenges of navigating the roads and fueling.
Yeah, the roads are the problem.
that was only an issue like every couple of days.
I will say I've never felt more like a tourist than like my rolling suitcase through Venice on like the cobblestone streets, just making all of this noise at like 9 o'clock at night, just awful. So I can imagine it's kind of nice to drive up and feel a little bit more inconspicuous, I guess, have all of your stuff packed away.
Oh, well, if you're in a rental RV, you still stick out like a sore thumb.
That's fair.
You look like every other rental European, at least.
They don't really know where you're from. You could be just, from the next country over.
Yes. So we did get a question. I'm assuming this is about Alaska, but I'll ask it about all your travels. Do you take your dogs with you?
We took the dogs with us to Alaska, yes, for
All of the North
America
trips.
crossings, we definitely brought the dogs. We had our dogs Mocha and Bella with us for the Alaska trip. They are no longer with us, but we got 2 others now, and they went to Mexico with us.
Awesome.
Another part of what we love about the RV lifestyle is it allows it's so dog friendly, if you will. We love our pups, and they're just as comfortable as we are, and they get to experience just amazing things just like us. So
so we used to joke that, you know, like our dogs had probably been, we called them 3 ocean dogs because they swam in all 3 oceans: the Arctic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Atlantic Ocean.
They're well-traveled pups.
And they were great, and I'm an insane animal lover. I've worked in animal welfare. I've got the bug, I've got the issue, the condition. And if I have to, like, when we went to Europe and we had to leave the dogs at home, like, I missed them so much. Yeah. So it's just so nice to be able to just bring them with us everywhere. I don't hardly ever have to worry about boarding them or anything like that. So it's really great.
Every dog is different, whether they're going to enjoy the traveling or not. I can't say that it'll work for your dog necessarily, but usually you can train them into it quite well. Border crossings in North America aren't really a problem as long as you have your information in order. So dogs are great traveling companions for the most part.
Amazing. I love that. They're very well-traveled dogs. I'm kind of jealous of all of the places that they've been.
Yeah, they're lucky. They don't know how lucky they are.
Yeah. They're like, this is just my life. This is just what I do.
I actually think they get more excited when they recognize a place that we're back to, and they're like, oh, I know this place.
Yeah, I know these smells. I've been here. Awesome. All right. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else we should know? We'll put a bunch of links. So if you're watching, we're going to put a bunch of links in the comments so it's easy to find all of the amazing things. Go North, the RVers, mortonsonthemove.com, your YouTube channel. Is there anything else? Any words of RV wisdom you want to leave us with?
Oh. I mean, we could keep talking, Stacy. You know, if you have any other questions for us, we could keep talking. But I think one of the major things for us, I guess, recently that we've been thinking about, you know, coming up on 9 years of full-time RVing, is that, you know, full-time RVing for us doesn't look like what we thought it was going to when we first started. When we first started, we thought we're going to be on the road for a year or two. We're going to find a place. We're going to settle down. And we'll live happily ever after. But then we loved it and we kept traveling. But we started to feel some stresses of, like, you know, this is just a lot of logistics. We're constantly moving. We're kind of exhausted from the constantly moving and the constantly figuring out where we're going to be next. So we fell into a kind of rhythm of, in the summertime, we've got a place up in Michigan that we like to go and plunk down for a couple of months. And then down in Florida here in the winter times, we've got a place that we plunk down for a couple of months. And that has worked out really nicely for us to be able to stay on the road and kind of recoup and relax and get our energy back, so that then on the shoulder seasons or whenever we get the inspiration, we're ready to kind of go and see a lot and travel a lot and do a lot. So I think when people come into this lifestyle, they're thinking it's going to be like, oh, I'm going to all these national parks, I'm going to all these cool places, like, all the time, I can go everywhere I want. And that might be exhausting, and that might be disheartening for people that, like, oh, it's not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And I think my piece of advice for that would be, then it's okay to slow down.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's one thing to be nomadic and stuff, but even, you know, if we're talking about ancestors that were nomadic, they would plunk down for a while and, like, grow crops and stuff before then they pick up and move again. So, like, finding your rhythm is probably one of the most important things if you want to do this for a long time, and letting yourself stop traveling if you feel that too. So, you know, full-time RVing, it's a journey, not a destination, and you do it for as long as it makes sense, and you make tweaks to it to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that. I can imagine that you can get burnt out pretty quickly with the excitement of like, oh, I can wake up in a new place every day, but do I need to? Like, is that what's making this an enjoyable experience?
For us, it was about like a year and a half of like, I mean, moving all the time, really energetic travel and adventure.
Not staying anywhere more than 2 weeks.
We loved it. We absolutely loved it. But that's when we kind of started to like burn out. I think it's maybe that's just something to kind of keep in mind. And a lot of people aren't, full time. They want to have an RV and still have a house and a home base, and that's perfectly fine as well. But maybe being able to do it for a couple months is then you can really kind of go a little bit harder and adventure and squeeze that in. For us, cost effective wise to own this massive RV, like living in it makes the most sense for us, and then traveling as we want, but then also staying stationary for a while.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
So many different ways to live this lifestyle, and we just really love it, and we like to share as much about it as possible. Yep. There's also a ton of information about like the technical side of RVing. We've gone through every system of almost every type of RV, and like to share well, because that side overwhelms people as well. A lot of times there are hundreds of systems on every one of these RVs. I was just doing some generator maintenance yesterday, and a guy came up to me and he was like, wow, these things are complicated. Yeah, they really are. And while you don't need to know how to do all your generator maintenance, you need to know that it needs to be done. And there's a lot of systems and things that that can overwhelm people as well. So it's for us, it really is just kind of an all the time thing.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, you have to mow your lawn and upkeep your house, but you don't have to mow the lawn, but you do have to keep your tires moving and water from getting in. So
lubricate
and here we
your
are
bearings.
talking with wholesale warranties. Shameless plug there. If you're not handy and you do want to keep all of your systems under warranty, you should definitely talk to those guys. But or you could just bring your handyman with you everywhere you go.
Or just travel with your engineer.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, wherever you are in your RV journey, whether you're just getting started or you've been doing it for a while, highly recommend checking out Mortons on the Move. You're going to find a piece of information that's going to be useful to you. We're so grateful for your time. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, even if you're watching a rewatch, and we'll go ahead and reach out to Tom and Kate. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer them.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for chatting, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Stacy. This is great. We had a lot of fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye.